Hi everyone, John here, and today I'm going to show you my favorite overdrive pedal. This is the Runoff Groove Azabache. It uses JFETs and diodes in multiple stages to emulate classic Fender amplifiers. Two switches up here to select the mode. The scoop switch over here when it's off is more like Tweed and Blond. When it's on, it's more like Blackface and Silverface. Bright switch over here when it's on is more like Tweed and Silverface. When it's off, it's more like Blond and Blackface. Volume control over here is the master volume, gain control down here, and a tone control over here that's kind of interesting. I'll get to that later in the demo. I'm going to start off in Tweed mode and then run through in chronological order. So that's scoop switch off, bright switch on. I'm on the lead channel of my amp. It's Tweed voiced. I don't have the tone rolled off and the mids are all the way down, so it's a fairly flat response. And the volume control is low, so it's nice and clean. Here is the bypass. I'm starting off with the gain at 1 o'clock for an edge of breakup sound. Volume is at unity, tone is in the middle. I'm going to flip the bright switch off now to go into Blond mode. Turn the gain up a bit more. This is a smoother distortion sound with the bright cap off. And knock down the volume just a little. Flip the scoop switch off now. The scoop adds a mid scoop in the upper mids, just like in the amplifiers. Adds a little bit of clarity. Does cut the gain a little bit. Also cuts the volume just a hair because you're losing mids early in the circuit. So a little bit cleaner in these settings. Not that you can't get a clean Tweed sound, but I'm going to leave the gain at about 2 o'clock for kind of a pushed edge breakup Blackface sound. And finally, I'm going to flip the bright switch back on. This is silver face mode. Of all the amp modes, I think this is the one that it gets most right to the feel and sound, to both the feel and the sound of the amp. I think the sounds and the EQ response is right for every single mode, but Tweeds and Blonds especially have a little bit more compression than you can get out of a JFET and diode circuit. So I'll put a little bit more information about that in the annotations or the comments, but I really like this mode. It sounds very acoustic-y to my ears. And finally, I'm going to go over the tone knob settings. So I'm going to flip back into Tweed mode now for a flatter response. The tone control is a modified version of the Big Muff Pi's tone control, but it comes early in the circuit. So when it's counterclockwise, it cuts treble and it's full bass. When it's clockwise, it cuts bass and it's full treble. In the center, it does round off a little bit of the edges, and in general, this is good for distortion. Just like rolling off your tone knob can kind of clarify the distortion. Rolling off the highs with the tone control a little bit can do that. Also, cutting the bass a little bit keeps things from getting muddy. So again, I think the tone control is really useful, even if it's just at noon. But by rolling off the treble all the way, you can get a nice little, you can get a nice jazzy sound. With the tone way up, all the way up sounds a little bit lo-fi to me, but about 3 o'clock is a really good mid-push with the bright cap off. That'll cut a little bit of the upper treble. There's noticeable attenuation on the low E string, so here it is with the bass right with the tone knob right there. Here it is with the tone from noticeable attenuation on the lowest string. But what this does is it gives you a little bit more of a mids push, and that is a little bit like a tube screamer. It can help you cut through a mix, but with a completely different feel, not the same type of compression or kind of restricted tone. that is the Runoff Groove Azabache. There are a few more sounds in there. It's a deceptively deep pedal for the number of controls. I've put some more information in the annotations. If you're looking for a Fender amp simulator to build, in my mind, this is the best one you can build. There are a few production models I think get a little bit closer to the overall sound of the amps, maybe slightly better distortion out of some of them, but for edge of breakup and medium gain sounds, I think this one is absolutely great. The tone control is great. The modes are pretty much spot on to the sound of the amps, and overall, I find it incredibly useful for just kind of filling out missing holes in the amplifier. The last sound I showed you is really good through the rhythm channel, especially. On this one, it's a blackface. And one last thing, I also use this on my board all the time. I built it months ago, and the only reason I haven't gotten around to doing a demo is because it's been living on there. I also use it on my board and don't even take my amp sometimes. Sounds really good to get close to the amps I'm used to, just plugging straight into a PA. So I highly recommend building this one. And if you liked this demo, please subscribe, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.